I, 34 male, am a pilot with a reputed aviation company. I have been married for 3 years to Ava, 30. I met her 5 years ago at a party. She was a senior executive in the same company. Her work was at a back office, more a corporate job. We met a few times in the office party before we started seeing each other. She was a ravishing, confident, and intelligent woman. Being a pilot, I am constantly surrounded by gorgeous people, but it was her smartness that attracted me. She kept me grounded literally. To be with a pilot is not easy, given our work schedules, jet lags, and endless tiredness, but Ava was very understanding. Most of my earlier relationships were either with a cabin crew or ground staff, and needless to say, short-lived. So, Ava brought freshness into my life. That's how our bond was. We dated for 2 years before exchanging vows. However, a lot has changed over those 2 years. While I don't expect married life to be as exciting as the dating phase, it must still be a happy place. Else, what's the point of being married? In the last few months, I have noticed a change in Ava's behavior. Maybe the shift was happening for a long time, but I have noticed it recently. I don't know. Ava is becoming the opposite of what she was before. Opposite of all the traits for which I loved her. See, my job is demanding, both physically and mentally draining, and it does take a toll on my emotional well-being, but Ava used to be considerate about it. She acknowledged that I couldn't be 24/7 available for her. In fact, there would be situations where she could need me for an emergency, but I would be unavailable for the next many hours. That's part of my work. The reason my past relationships fell off: lack of time and insecurities. Almost all my breakups happened because it was either of two or sometimes both. After all, I couldn't give them the expected time, or they grew insecure about me being surrounded by beautiful coworkers for such long, lonely flight journeys. And the reason my relationship with Ava survived was that she was never insecure about me. However, as I said, she changed. It started 4 months ago when I had to urgently cover the shift for my colleague. It was the day before Ava's birthday. I took 2 days leave, on her birthday and a day prior, and booked a resort to spend quality time with her. However, on the evening before her birthday, my colleague had to leave urgently to address some family emergency. I think his daughter was sick or something, but I don't remember vividly, so I had to cover the shift for him. I apologized to Ava and told her it was just a matter of a night and that I would return in the morning on her actual birthday, and we would celebrate for the rest of the day. She turned red. I made her understand that it was beyond my control and I had to go. I had no choice. I asked her if she wanted to stay in the resort for the night or if she wanted to go home, and we could drive back the following day. She chose to stay in the resort by herself. I left in the evening. It was a domestic flight, so I returned by the morning. I called Ava right after landing and said I would be in the resort in an hour. I did everything I could to cover for my absence at night, but she wasn't satisfied. She was quiet and grumpy for most of the time. She celebrated her birthday as if she was doing a favor to me. I felt her anger was justified because of my sudden work need, but her crankiness persisted since then. A week later, I confronted her if she was still angry with me. She responded saying no, she wasn't. She just got accustomed to my absence. It was pure sarcasm, and even a child could get it. I wanted to have a hearty conversation with her, but she brushed it off, saying that it was fruitless, and she would always have to compromise. I don't know, I felt she was playing a victim. Since then, I noticed she was mostly in 2 moods, plain normal, which was neither cheerful, angry, sarcastic, or average. The other was cranky, in which she would complain about everything about me. We have had many confrontations in these months where we have discussed our concerns. I'm no saint. She quoted many incidents where I was an absolute a-hole, but I acknowledged that and promised to work on it. However, when it was my turn to pour my concerns, she turned defensive and turned the table around me. That it was because of me that she had acted moron, and it was I who triggered her for the witchy behavior. Really. More often than not, I came out to be dumbfounded after that. I discussed this with a co-pilot if he was also facing a similar issue because of a large part of our behavior is dictated by our work. I told him about my situation as we were on the same boat, flight. He listened carefully, then chuckled it off, saying, "Dang, is every woman the same?" I asked him what he meant, and he said his wife also complained that he was physically and emotionally unavailable. He also assured that every woman is the same in pinning the blame on her husband. I don't mean to offend the ladies here. I genuinely don't believe that all women are narcissistic. After the following discussion with my colleague, I swept the matter under the rug with the hope that her mood swings were a temporary phase and it would pass on. It didn't subside, however. Now, a new concern has emerged. She has suddenly started feeling insecure about me. She raises an eyebrow whenever I have any new haircut or order exotic perfume. She's always like, "Whom do you want to impress?" Initially, I took it as a joke, but she was bothered by my grooming. I mean, she knows that I'm a pilot. I need to be groomed. I can't be in my pajamas. I'm not a writer. Whenever I narrate any work-related story involving my colleagues, she quickly picks out the name of the female ones. She asks me if I find them hot. This is now annoying me. I have told her that I would never cheat on her and want no one but her. I give her all the reasons why no one can replace her, all those narrations I gave at the start of the story. That's why I said that Ava is turning opposite to what she was before, for which I fell for her. I don't know which path my marriage is going. Anyone with a similar experience, kindly share some tips. Thanks. Now for the first update. Hey all, appreciate all the tips. So I posted in September that my wife Ava is changing into a different personality from what she was earlier. She was an understanding and secure woman who slowly, or dramatically, I don't know, turned into a nagging and insecure wife, which was concerning because my previous relationship crashed for a similar reason. Many of you said maybe it was me because if the reason for most of my breakups were the same, then it must be me. So I took it seriously and tried to mend things from my way. I tried to be attentive, mentally and emotionally present at home. I took every care of her to pamper and keep her happy. She even acknowledged that I was not giving her a reason to complain. So, tomorrow is our anniversary, which I have planned for months. I want to make up for disaster calls on her birthday. I have taken a week's leave in advance and told my boss that I would be out of the country and unable to make it for any emergency at work for this 1 week. However, I didn't disclose this to Ava. I have planned a surprise for her. In fact, I did not mention our upcoming anniversary at all, pretending that I had forgotten it. The plan was that I would leave for work as usual in the evening before our anniversary date, which is today. Per my roster, I was deployed for the night shift this month, so it was easier to execute the plan. I left in the evening with a plan to go back near midnight to surprise her and then take her for the week-long vacation. She works at the back office, so taking an urgent leave of a week would be fine for her. She had pulled off such leaves many times in the past, so I trusted her that she would make it. For the past month, I have shopped for her, got the dresses that she would need on vacation. I also bought a single stud diamond locket for her as a gift. I'm super excited, but have kept it all secret. On the other hand, Ava got snarky and crazy as the anniversary approached. While she thought I had forgotten the anniversary, I imagined her happy surprise face when I would reveal my plan. Today evening, I dressed up and left the house at my usual time. Ava was home when I was leaving and she was fuming, but did not say anything. I asked her if she was okay, to which she nodded yes with a straight face. I was laughing inside, wondering what would have happened if I had actually forgotten. I came to a mall to get the extra toiletries for our travel. I'm currently loitering around to kill some time so that I reach around midnight. I bought some bouquets, cupcakes, candles, and everything I found cute in that store. It is still 9 p.m. and a few hours to go, so I'm using this time to update this thread. I'll keep you all posted about her reaction. Wish me luck. Now for the second update. I posted in September that my wife's attitude was changing towards me. I got the suggestion that it was probably me because all my previous girlfriends also had the same complaints. So I worked on it and planned an exotic surprise vacation for my wife on our anniversary. I posted about that in November, a day before my anniversary. Added the link if anyone wants to read the whole story. As planned, I left the mall around 10:30 p.m. When I reached home, I used my key to sneak into the house to surprise Ava. I sensed she was talking to someone as I entered the living room. I thought she was on the phone talking about me as to how I forgot her birthday. When I entered the room to surprise her with cupcakes and bouquets, she was lying naked. Yes, She gave me the shock of my life. I froze. She was stunned too. For a moment, I thought she had sniffed about my plan and hence had planned a counter-surprise for me. I was about to laugh and say, "You got me," when a man came out of the washroom, naked. It all happened in a fraction of a second, and none of us got the chance to say a word. I threw everything I had in my hand, choked that man, and asked him who he was. She ran and tried to free him. I grinned at my teeth and gave a criminal look to her. I actually wanted to choke her, but this man was in front of me, so I grabbed him. Gladly, I didn't choke her because it would have been a different discussion. I don't think she would have survived that. I was seething and uncontrollable. The guy somehow freed himself and looked at Ava like she should have ensured everything was in place before calling him. I wanted to punch him for his look, but Ava held my hand. The man took his clothes and left the house while dressing on the way. Meanwhile, I yelled at the top of my voice asking Ava about him. She begged that she could explain and let the guy go. I again rushed towards the guy asking him to stop and answer my question about who he was. He turned back and yelled at me. "I came here because your wife paid my agency. I'm not here to make love, okay?" I turned back to Ava and asked if it was true. She held my hand and sobbed as she had hired an escort service because she felt lonely. She thought I had forgotten the anniversary, and in a moment of rage, she wanted to hurt me because I had also spoiled her birthday. She said I could not give her enough time and attention, which she needed from me. I prioritized my work and was emotionally cold to her. I asked her since when all these were on. She said that although she had thought about it multiple times in a fit of anger, and sometimes in loneliness, it was the first time she mustered the courage to actually book one. She said that she was shattered and suffocated by my behavior that day, hence, she wanted to clear off her head. She argued that, literally, she had not cheated on me because I arrived before they could do anything. I don't know if they already did everything, but considering the state of the bedroom, it looked like they were yet to do anything. It's been a week since that day, yet I am unable to accept that my wife was about to cheat on me. She promised me that she would never do that again. The anniversary, anyways, got ruined. I was so depressed that I didn't even cancel the bookings. I woke up to a call from the airlines in the morning because I had completed the web check-in, but didn't turn up. I canceled the hotel bookings at that time. I locked myself in the bedroom for almost a whole day, drinking and passing out. I don't know what she was thinking that day, nor did I bother to check, but I know she was at home because of her occasional knock on the door with pleadings and begging. I knew I would die of suffocation if I stayed further in that room, so I called my boss in the evening and told him that my vacation somehow got canceled, and I wanted to withdraw my leave. He put me on the roster and I left for work the next day. I wanted to clear my head before making any decision. I know she did not cheat, but she was about to. What if I had actually forgotten? Does that give her the right to cheat on me? I don't know. She's been pleading with me for one last chance and promising to do everything to fix our marriage. Honestly, I love her, and I don't want to let her go, but I'm too hurt to forgive and move on. I didn't discuss this with my colleagues or friends because they know Ava, and I don't want to ruin her reputation. Would appreciate any fresh perspective on this matter. Thanks. Now for the third update. Hi. I'm updating this with the intention to help and be aware of others who are or might be in a similar situation. I've linked to my original post below. That incident disturbed me to the extent that I had to seek therapy. Ava insisted on joining me, and we sought a couple therapy. I barely spoke to her after that night. Hence, I thought getting a couple therapy might be better. The first appointment we got was after 2 weeks of enrollment. It frustrated me even more. My boss and colleagues quickly noticed that I was different from the usual myself and asked me to take an off. A pilot is responsible for hundreds of lives boarded on the plane, and of course, they can't trust a disturbed and disoriented mind for such crucial work. It made sense to me to take a break. I went to my ancestral home, which was in a countryside. After my grandparents passed away, my distant uncle lived there alone, taking care of the property, so it was the best place for me to clear my head. When I was leaving the house with packed suitcases, Ava held my hand and asked where I was going, but I shrugged her off and didn't say a word. I came home on the day of the therapist's appointment. Those 15 days with nature and the first therapy did help a bit. The therapist advised us that we lived separately for the time being because Ava's presence infuriated me, and I could not move on. Ava began nagging that she had nowhere to go except her parents' house, where she didn't want to go because her parents might sniff the trouble in our marriage. She insisted that I move out somewhere. Since I wanted to get rid of her ugly face, I rented a co-living space. In the second session, I went there with a much better mental space while Ava was distraught. She said that living alone was causing her mental breakdown and insisted I move back. I was still not over yet, so I declined. She promised to mend everything and work on her relationship, but I pushed off. The therapist intervened and probed her regarding her mental breakdown. Ava said that she loses her sanity when she is left alone. She wanted a companion, so she always had a roommate and had never lived alone. The therapist asked me if I could consider this and move in. I stood my ground and said I wanted more time by myself. That's when Ava erupted and opened up about how she was frustrated by my selfishness and how I always put my foot down. In a fit of rage, she admitted that on her birthday, when I left her for work urgently, it made her realize that she was trivial in my life. Hence, she slept with a bachelor who was vacationing in an adjacent room. Since then, she pledged to live her life for happiness as I do for my own. She has been having multiple one-night stands, paid and unpaid. The therapist asked if she felt guilty while doing it. She said she used to feel guilty, but then she reminded herself how I lived on my terms, so she too deserved the same right and happiness. The therapist asked if that gave her happiness. She answered that although it didn't give her happiness, it pulled her out of the loneliness for the moment. She also justified her actions in her head that I must be fooling around with my colleagues since I'm surrounded by glamorous females. I think that's when she started getting insecure. My initial reaction to her confession was evident anger, but it soon subsided as the therapist probed her. I was sitting there calmly, maybe because I felt pity for her somewhere down there. I'm not sure if she was really suffering from depression, or if she was making it up to cover for her sins. After she was done, I cleared the air that I would need separation because I definitely could not live with someone who had been cheating on me, whatever the reason. Not everyone works a 9-to-5 job and comes back home. There are jobs that are more demanding, but it doesn't give a license to the other partner to cheat. If that's the case, every army man's wife, mariner's wife, naval officer's wife, etc., should cheat. Ava further broke down on my decision, begging me to give her one last chance in our marriage, promising that she would do everything to make it work. However, I wasn't moved. I'm sorry, I might sound rock, but I clearly cannot stay with someone who cheated on me and justified it with her made-up story that I too might be cheating on her. We went home and I called her parents because she was inconsolable and unwilling to accept my decision. I promised her I would not expose her truth. That was the peak I could do for her. Her parents arrived within a few hours and I explained to them that we were separating because of our incompatibility due to my work schedule. They were shocked at my news because, until then, we were perceived as a happy couple. However, Ava's breakdown made them suspicious that she wasn't on board with the decision. Her father noticed it and questioned Ava if she agreed with what I said. Guess what? She said no. She said that she wanted to stay married and work on the relationship. I was amazed. Her parents raised their eyebrows at me, saying that how was it a mutual decision when she wanted to stay married? I told them she had a problem with my work schedule, and we clearly had no solution until my retirement. It came so easy for them to suggest to me to change my profession or take a ground role. Like, really? I might have considered this option if this discussion happened before she cheated. Now I can't give up my profession because of a cheater, right? I was left with no option but to reveal the truth to them. Her father was flustered and said I was making it up to get rid of his daughter. I insisted Ava speak up, else I would have to go legally and involve the therapist. She finally spoke up, and as usual, she was narcissistic and pinned the blame on me. That it was because of my selfishness. It was because of my emotional unavailability. She was forced to do it. Her father asked her mother to pack Ava's belongings but didn't say a word to me afterward. Ava begged her father to convince me, but he was unruffled. I filed for the divorce the next day, and the proceedings are still on. I'm writing this not with any other intention but to create awareness amongst people in demanding professions. I'm not asking that you hire PI on your wife immediately, but be careful, brothers. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you again. Take care.